Spice. Island Spice.
Niki kamauna kalaye, oh ahi ale ale lai wenwa, uki ale kalani kababawe o kawaii. Alahi alai no nalo kai puha, kalaula mau kau mai, ngai pai kale o he ole kaya mai.
Aloha guys, welcome back. I'm Spice. Another episode of Talk Story with Spice. I am Spice, your host, and super stoked. We've got freedive instructor, an amazing human being, Mr. Kurt Chambers. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Spice.
Yeah. So, freediving. What got you into it? And how long have you been freediving?
I moved from Texas, where I grew up, to Hawaii in 2003. And I had kind of like heard about spearfishing, and I grew up fishing in Texas, Galveston, Texas, kind of a beach town. And naturally, I just wanted to keep fishing and all that, and it just sounded exciting to instead of sitting there above water, not seeing what's going on. It seemed cool to like go underwater,
So the saltwater
see.
fishing.
Yeah. It was good fishing back home, but not diving. So I did no freediving of any kind, like growing up in Texas. Like our water's just not very clear. But I did at least grow up like surfing and junior lifeguards, and then lifeguarding and doing a lot of things in the ocean from a young age.
Yeah.
So I had a very, very good like comfort and swimming background and all that.
Just a good relationship with
Yes, actually, yeah.
the ocean and swimming.
I sometimes think about how much different the experience might be for some of my students and these tourists when they live someplace in the Midwest where there is no ocean.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to put my mind inside of theirs, to realize that the ocean's kind of scary and vast and unpredictable and all that. And I'm just like, no, it's
and you can
really,
be,
it's like it's a good friend or something like that.
Yeah, and in the ocean, I mean, you got predators as well compared to lakes and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Are guys at your level and women training in freshwater?
Yeah, there's some freshwater diving. I'm learning of more and more partners and acquaintances that are doing that around the United States in like quarries and lakes and things like that. Yeah, like as freediving grows, like people are just going to do it wherever they live instead of traveling hours to get to the Caribbean or here and stuff like that.
Have you personally dove freshwater before, like deep dives?
No.
Because I don't know if there's like a difference with like saltwater versus freshwater.
There most definitely is.
With the body and suits that you wear.
Your buoyancy is the biggest difference.
Okay.
We are more buoyant in saltwater because the water's denser. So probably the most popular place, I'd say, in the world for freshwater diving now is the cenotes of Mexico, which I'm sure you heard of. So those are like the old, like, sort of Mayan, revered, like, underwater caves in southern Mexico.
Yeah, I think I've seen.
And that's like massively popular now.
Have you done it?
No.
I'm sure it's on the bucket
Some
list.
of my friends did go and compete there in April at a freediving competition. It actually had like about a 300-foot depth potential in this cenote where they did the competition. That was called the Xibalba competition, and I think that'll be annual. So yeah, I hope to go sometime.
Wow, that's amazing. What advanced you from? So it started spearfishing.
Yeah. exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm a spearfisher. We got a lot of spearfishers that'll be watching this.
Mm.
So I can't imagine. I mean, your record depths is.
I did like a national record with the normal freediving fins we use of about 325 feet, like less than 2 weeks ago, actually, in the Philippines.
Wow. Awesome.
And I've been a little bit deeper with the monofin, like 330 feet or so. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at in my depth. Wouldn't mind a little bit more depth.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even fathom what you see compared to like myself. I'm a spearfisher, but shallow water. I've done 60, but like 20 feet, I'm happy at. I've shot my biggest fish in actually like 12 feet or less. And so, what you see in other spearfishers, I mean, my friends, your friends, and people that you're training, I can't imagine.
So this reminds me of kind of a cool little story that's quite recent. So I went to Fiji about 2 months ago to visit Dua Nasegu, kind of a new like spearfishing resort that my friend Kainoa started. He moved from Oahu to Fiji to start that. Anyways, yeah, he had a nice boat. We spent a week there just going to really cool like dive sites with the boat. And as we were entering this one area, he said, "Hey, over here, there's a seamount where I caught a 150-pound dogtooth tuna last week." And he said, but it's 40 fathoms deep. So 40 fathoms is like about 250 feet deep. Yeah.
Wow.
And he knows what I do. So he's like, I know Kurt can do that, but this is different. This isn't like a competition, you know. And I was like, let's give it a try. So we put like a weight on the end of a bottom fishing rig, and I just kind of like followed that down. And I actually did make it to the top of the seamount, covered in like black coral and stuff. And sure enough, there were some pretty good sized like dogtooth tunas, like sharks, and just wild things that you don't see in shallow water down at that depth.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's outside of the realm of most people's freediving to even consider doing something like that, or even scuba diving for that matter.
Yeah, I never.
But yeah, it's a way that I get to have fun with my capabilities now. Like if something's 200-300 feet deep, I can do that. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. What is your? I mean, where are all of you dove?
So,
and then what of your experiences has been like one of the most, like when you're diving and like there's just, it's like even being on land and you see this sunset and it just stops you in your tracks. Like, has there been dives, and I'm sure there has, that just literally you're stopped like, oh my god, look where I'm at and look what's going on and what's in front of me, and
So I do kind of prefer warmer water places. Most people
amen.
would. I'm not like yearning to go to like the Mediterranean and deal with the thermoclines and things like that. So I've been fortunate to visit a few places around the Caribbean, like Honduras, Dominica. I just came back from the Philippines, where the water was far warmer than here. So
wow.
Really nice, And yeah, like it's every place I go, I am initially mind blown. I'm like, wow, I've never seen coral like this, and I've never been in water so warm and all that. But now I think as I continue traveling, I'm sure I'll still find like the excitement, but now I'm starting to compare like, which place had better coral, Fiji or Roatan, or what's the differences between the marine life in these places? And it's cool. Like, I studied marine biology enough to appreciate the differences and the types of like diversity of fish and
So is that one place that just stands out, or that one experience that stands out over?
These places that I'm going are comparable. I think my fondest memory is not of any recent dive, but from my childhood. Okay, so this goes into a little bit more about my background in diving.
Nice.
While I did not dive in Texas, I was fortunate to have, I guess, an adventurous father who wanted to go on trips abroad. Yeah. So we drive around the States and all that, but we finally went to Belize, and then Honduras, and then Costa Rica on 3 different trips. And this was when I was like 11 years old and 16 years old and stuff like that, right? And so we went to these places where like snorkeling was good, and those are like the fondest memories I have naturally because they're like my childhood, and I still,
especially with pops. And,
I still just don't feel like I've been to a place as magical as like what I remember as a kid in Belize, like just jumping off the dock in a super clear water.
Yeah, and then you're
seeing
going
how many starfish I could count, and stuff like that.
And at the same time, you're going to a foreign country and different languages and cultures. So, just getting awakened to that for the first few times is always an incredible experience.
So you just reminded me about something else that might be of interest. Not less than 48 hours ago, I got an email back from an organizer of a competition in the Red Sea in Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
Where I'm invited to participate in a freediving competition in Saudi Arabia right now.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm going to go. I got to leave in about 2 weeks, actually. But yeah, that once again, it's like, I don't even know what to expect. Like I never even considered diving in that part of the world. So yeah, there's a lot of like uncertainty and not fear, but just like I wonder how warm the water's going to be. What do I need to use there? And stuff like that.
Are you going to go kind of obviously maybe a week or so in advance to get used to?
Yeah, absolutely.
The waters and all that. Is there different suits that you wear on different dives, or is there just a main free diving suit?
For the competitions, we kind of do use the best that money can buy. Like we want the most flexible suits. And, the ones that are the fastest underwater and all that. I don't really vary too much, but I do have a little bit of a preference for a thinner suit when I do the no fins discipline because it's the hardest, and so the less weight that I have to wear, the better for the harder dives. Yeah. And then on the other hand, if I'm doing like the free immersion where I pull along the line or wearing a monofin where I can build a lot of speed, not as worried about it, and I might wear a little bit more weight and a thicker suit if I want to. But from what I understand, this diving in Saudi Arabia is going to be like almost too hot to wear a wetsuit. So
even at the depths that you're able to go?
Yeah, I got to learn about that too. Is the temperature going to change with depth? I'm not really sure. This is going to be
Are they brackish or they're freshwater?
This is going to be the Red Sea.
Wow.
So it's actually one of the most like sought after places to go dive in the world. It just has really, really awesome diversity, lots of red colors and the reef and the fish and all that.
Wow,
so yeah,
that just alone sounds great.
But I actually like the idea of not having to wear a wetsuit to dive. I mean, you would be so free, not wearing all these weights and restricting your flexibility and movement and all that. But I also don't know if that's against the culture there. You have to be kind of like covered up.
Yeah.
A lot of places that you go, you can't just do what we do in Hawaii,
Yeah.
And
they find it disrespectful. No
exactly.
Spots,
got to find out like if you can even dive in nothing but shorts or something.
Yeah, totally.
There. So yeah.
When you go to do a competition, are there certain diets or regimes or stuff that you kind of adhere to prep yourself for that in a mind game and to set your mind on the dive that's coming up?
Yeah, there's of course all this anticipation. The closer you get to a competition, like, am I doing everything right to be as healthy and as fit as possible and to recover, most importantly. But I kind of do those things all the time here anyway. I'm a pretty healthy person now. There was a time when I would not hesitate to go to Costco after teaching a freediving class and have a hot dog and a pizza. That was not all that long ago that I was down to do that. Now I don't do that anymore. I'm actually been vegan for 4 years now. So some folks might find that interesting, like, oh, how does he get his protein, or
well, you get
how does he keep his blood healthy? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've learned that not just myself, but several other top divers are dedicated vegetarians, and they're doing really well. I mean, these are like world champions, like Mateusz Molina, Alenka Artnik, Dean Chouch. These are folks that I was just rubbing elbows with. That I learned, like, whoa, you're the best in the world, and you're like vegetarian too. So yeah,
great. Yeah.
You can do quite well without depending on the animals. As much. And so that would also make me reveal that I don't spearfish anymore, because that'd be weird to still hunt fish and try to be vegetarian.
Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, you can kind of blend it a little bit and only get your meat that way.
You can
whatever.
hunt seaweed. No, just kidding.
But yeah, no, I went completely off the.
When you were
animals.
spearfishing, I mean, what depths were you going? Like when you train compared to spearfishing, are you still going to the depths that you're able? And then any big fish?
I would
big fish stories for us.
I would say that I did somehow develop the kind of more extreme, like challenge seeking mentality, even in my spearfishing. Like a lot of folks here that spearfish, they dismiss the idea of joining a class because they say, you know, there's fish here in 40 feet of water.
Yeah.
You know, what do you need to learn to dive 100 feet for, right? But the rewards are there. When you can go deeper, you can get away from where all the fishing pressure has mostly been in the shallows. You know? And it's nice. You don't have to work so hard or be as disappointed and all that. And yeah, you know, there's bigger fish down there and all that kind of stuff too. But yeah, so back when I did a lot of spearfishing, my primary partner, his name was Derek, and we shared the same goal of just like, let's go deeper than anybody.
Wow.
Whether spearfishing or not. And visiting the shipwrecks around Oahu played a big part in my development. They had a lot of shipwrecks there, and you have a few in Maui. You know, those are not bad.
I think
yeah, like the Carthaginian, where we have classes and
used
so
to
on.
be here at the harbor.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, it's really good depth, you know. Anyways, we would visit each of these wrecks by trying to get the GPS coordinates, paddling out a kayak, and then starting to plumb down and see if we can touch the wreck or reach the sand below the wreck.
Wow.
And we'd bring the spear guns along and, yeah, usually get to go home with something.
Yeah.
I remember at the Sea Tiger wreck in Oahu, Derek and I had just done some deep training. It was cold. We wanted to go home. And then as he's like throwing his nest of tangled shooting line on the kayak, I look down and I see these really long shapes with stripes on their back. And I'm like, never seen that before. What the heck is that? And then it hit me and I was like, and I yelled out aloud, oh no.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that we saw them, and they gave us a chance and we got one. Like, it was such a memorable experience to like, I've never even seen those fish, never been prepared for them. We had a 100 centimeter gun with a reel between the two of us, not ready to do
100
this.
centimeter
Yes,
gun?
tiny little reef
How big
gun.
was the Ono?
It would end up being 55 pounds.
Nice.
So that's quite big for
It
here.
is. I shot one, I think, similar in Australia.
So I don't want to spend 30 minutes on that fish story, but anyway, there were rewards for going out where people don't go. You know,
And you know, training for where you are today as well. Pushing your freediving.
Exactly. It laid down the foundation for this competitive freediving that I've got much more passionate about. You know, that reminds me of something else that's worth bringing up. In competitive freediving now, we have a very big problem, a growing one, with divers that are accelerating or progressing too quickly in their training. They're going from like just started diving to 200 feet in a year, you know, that kind of thing. It is possible. And the way that it's being made possible is because now instructors are not hard to come by. You know, you can easily find instructors anywhere that can teach you the equalization techniques and all that stuff to get there quickly. But the problem is that your body needs time to adapt to handle that much pressure.
So you're saying they're going from what to 200 feet?
Like just starting freediving and getting to 200 feet in a year. I mean, I think there's a whole lot of like Asian divers that are doing that. I saw them at the competition in Philippines. And here's what happens is if the chest is not ready, primarily the chest, the lungs, that's what's most sensitive to injury. If it's not ready to handle that much compression, you fall victim to what's called a squeeze.
Okay.
And that's where you overcompress the tissues. They tear, you know, they get stressed and you cough up blood.
Yeah, I've heard
and your breathing
plasma,
can be... it can be plasma, it can be blood. That's the classic like lung squeeze or trachea squeeze that we worry about so much. And now that is becoming increasingly common and just ubiquitous in
that's
freediving
a great
communities.
thing to throw out.
Yeah, that is something to point out. So the reason that I've not been such a victim of that is because of that long background.
So you're diving over 300 now. How long did you allow yourself to progress
It
Is
wasn't.
that- or were you doing the same thing and then got lucky and no problem?
It wasn't so much that I was holding myself back, knowing that I needed to. It's
Yeah.
just that I didn't enjoy the instruction that folks are able to get now. 10 years ago, well, more than 10 years ago, when I took my classes, it wasn't so easy to learn the advanced deep equalization techniques and all that.
Yeah,
And,
you're the first like course offer that I've even heard of.
Mm.
Like, my time on the Big Island where you're from, and
No, to be honest, I'm most definitely not the first to teach here. However, I was one of the
I
earliest
think
to
there's
start.
a few guys here that do teach.
I was, however, one of the earliest to start offering on the other islands. Now, before I started offering, most everybody had to fly to Kona, like maybe one of the 3 times a year
It's not bad.
these
no.
instructors would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
And so that's what I had to do. I lived in Oahu at the time. I don't know how many hundreds of dollars it required for me to pay for the class, fly over, stay someplace, and all that. And now, I've just tried to help make it a lot more accessible by hopping around myself and just letting people take
Setting
a class
up.
where they live.
And I know here on Maui we got a lot of people that praise your work and your gift with this, and they're really grateful. Like, we spoke on Brandon. He said he just bought some fins off you for, I think it's Kiribati trip. You went spearfishing with Rudy. Did Rudy King work?
I need to learn about. I saw a little bit on Instagram from their trip, but it'd be cool to talk to them, or have you talk to them so we can learn what did they experience.
They started going. I think it's his second or third trip now, and they love it. I think more than the spearfishing, which is great, is the people there. I really enjoy that, and it's crazy being in Hawaii, and we're 2,500 miles from everywhere. We're at levels you're going, you can get fish, but at levels I'm going, quote unquote, fished out in a lot of areas. And then I've been to Australia and Indonesia, and you think a place like Indonesia, as far as fish abundance go, they're just tapped out because there's so many people in Indonesia, and it's some of the most insane. I've been there, and there's 8 game fish, and you're trying to figure out which one you want to shoot. There's
of course now kind of a much greater awareness that the ocean can be depleted. Everybody knows now that it's no secret that the fish are disappearing, and certain things that we really used to like, you really shouldn't so quickly eat, bluefin tuna and stuff like that.
There's focus on here, a lot of the rivers were blocked, and I think that has also, other than overfishing, I think that has something to do because the rivers bring in the spawning, which make for more fish. And a healthier ecosystem in the ocean.
Yeah. No, I think the biggest impact though is the demand, and it's just up to everybody to stop saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter if I, take too many fish. There's still plenty out there."
Yeah,
everybody just has to find it in themselves to just become more mature about it.
Take what
stop. Yeah, exactly. To actually do what we've always said we're supposed to do, but that not everybody actually does. Or maybe even consider not getting to eat fish as much as you like. Just because you can put it on the table every day doesn't mean you have to eat fish every day. You can kind of approach, the vegetarian lifestyle where you just have the meat once a week or every other day or something like that. And that would reduce, the impact a little bit, I think.
And the mind game, I know, I've just taught friends, and we're not going very deep, and I tell them when you're down, when you're a kid and you're looking in a store and you see everything you want for Christmas, focus on
all this stuff.
Focus on everything else but your breath, and relax into it. So when you're doing these competitions and things, what is your mental game beforehand and during?
That is actually something that I'm still working on. While you may think oh, he's a master of his craft or whatever, in my mind, I still have so much to learn and figure out.
That's awesome.
Now, I will tell you a little bit about what I accomplished in the way of that just recently in the Philippines. So I think I did find some kind of improvement in my sort of psychology in this last competition. The pressure was super high. It was a huge competition. I had expectations that I even put on myself to do national records and all this. And I think I kind of started to practice meditation. I never really really tried.
I do it
to
daily for my sanity.
Yeah, you could probably teach me a lot.
Yeah,
but
I'd be happy to.
Yeah, just whenever I found myself like catching the bus or the shuttle or the boat out, and I had nothing else to do, I just closed my eyes, and I would just maybe visualize the dive in as careful detail as possible, or as I was trying to go to sleep the night before, stuff like that. And then also, I tried to tell myself that you don't need to put pressure on yourself. See, that's the thing that's difficult in any kind of sports or whatever, is like the expectation to perform, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, making yourself nervous with anticipation and anxiety, that can help in other sports. You know, that can trigger, you know, sort of this fight or flight response.
It also drain you because you're creating pressure more, not only on yourself, but like you've got expectations to almost kind of like please others with what you're doing.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm getting at here, is that whether you put that pressure on yourself or not, it just doesn't matter. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. It's not like the more pressure you pile on yourself, the better you're going to do, or the better your chances, really, the more likely you'll fail. So I just tried to like push it aside and think to myself, I don't actually have to make this dive, you know, like it's not going to be the end of the world. My followers won't be disappointed. It's not a big deal if I don't get the national record this dive. So I've just tried to increase my attitude toward that, where you just
look at the positive side of what is going on. Even if you
don't
win, like look where you're
be
at.
Positive, be positive, but even better than that is just to be present. Meaning, don't even try to anticipate the outcome. Don't even try to think it's going to be negative or it's going to be positive. Just focus on what you have to do now. Like right now, here I am laying on my back. I have 5 minutes till the dive. Yeah. What should I be doing right now? I should be breathing calmly. I should be clearing my head. I should probably make sure my nose clip is tight. I should make sure my lanyard is attached to the rope. Those are the things that I tried to focus on, like just constantly. And then even during the dive, like I didn't worry while I was sinking to 100 feet whether I was going to be out of breath, 2 minutes later in the dive. I just thought about, what do I need to do right now? I need to make my kicks this hard or this gentle. And now I need to focus on this aspect of my equalization. And of course, there's plenty to think about there, but that is something that you hear consistently in discussion of peak performance, is staying in the present, not worrying about what's going to happen. And of course, hopefully you've had the training behind you so that you can have the confidence to know like that what you're trying to do is possible. It's not just like a Hail Mary or something like that. So yeah, I enjoyed a really good recent competition where I really kind of feel like I brought some I stepped up my psychology game, and I think I saw the proof of that working out, because there was, on the first day, 3 or 4 blackout dives around my dive. Like when
these are
divers that were other athletes, right?
Wow.
So they put us in order of depth, and so the guys going a little deeper than me were before me. The guys just a little shallower after me. So these are the best divers in the competition, right?
Unreal.
It's like 2 dives before me, blackout. And then there's me, and I'm like, everybody's wondering the same thing. Is he going to just continue the trend?
Yeah.
Or is he going to break away? And amazingly, like, I broke the trend, like, in that little series of dives. I made the dive, and then the guy after me blacked out. So I was like, other people were feeling all that pressure, whether that was the conditions or the circumstances or whatever, and yet I made it. In fact, I made all my dives in the competition. I never had a single early turn or blackout or anything like that.
Wow.
And I think that when an athlete can do that in freediving, that shows how good they are with their psychology. So
I agree in that you not only confidence, but it's just skill, and you know your boundaries, and you know yourself a lot more.
Yeah.
And how far you can take yourself on.
Yeah, there's no substitute.
There's danger.
No substitute for confidence and preparation. I would definitely agree with that. So yeah, but it always works out that we always wish we got to do more training every time we get to the starting line, or whatever. But
so we spoke on magic moments in your dives. Any hairy, scary moments of like sharks coming in, or just, hey, I don't think I'm going to make this on my way back up?
Okay. I would say that by far the scariest stuff I've dealt with is, in fact, like blacking out.
Wow.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because maybe some of the folks watching kind of know like that there's that risk in freediving and in spearfishing, but maybe still think that we're crazy for allowing ourselves to have that risk.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a lot of experience with it because of my background in some other sports, such as racing triathlons, running marathons and so on.
Wow.
I think I have like a pretty really strong willpower. I mean, I know I do, and so I don't give up very easily. Okay, and the thing is, most of these blackout incidents are not as scary as you think. Let me ask you something, Spice. Did you ever, when you were young and in school, do this weird thing with your friends where you hyperventilated a bunch and kind of made each other
Do you remember?
Yeah, so many of my
and
students
you get
experience
tingly
it.
and you just kind of fall over?
Yes.
Okay.
Now,
Wow.
that shares
Been
the
a while.
exact same underlying mechanism as our loss of consciousness in freediving. It's just lapse of oxygen to the brain. Okay,
Yeah.
and your brain has a natural protective strategy there where it shuts the body down when the oxygen gets too low, so that what oxygen is left is conserved. Okay, so don't think of blacking out as somebody going into cardiac arrest or nearly dying or something like that.
Scary. I mean,
It looks like it.
Blacking out is kind of like, I'm like, whoa, I don't ever want to experience it.
It
might be.
It looks scary, but the person is still healthy. They're ready to wake right up. You just need to have some help for that in the water, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so most of the time, our loss of consciousness in freediving happens at the surface or close to the surface. Grab the person, bring them up. Once there's air on their face, the brain realizes that it's okay to breathe again, and you do spontaneously. Now, I have had many such blackouts that were just minor at the surface, but there were maybe 2 or 3 times where I pushed myself too far. I went too deep for that fish, or it was too cold and I shouldn't have even tried and stuff like that. And when you black out well before the surface, and well before, I mean like maybe 30 feet before you reach the surface, that's a kind of a bad blackout. It takes a bigger toll on you. I would sometimes recover feeling like a lot of difficulty breathing. That can kind of like incite what's called pulmonary edema, where you get the fluid in the lungs, stuff like that. And I did go to the hospital twice for those worst episodes. And yeah, that is, I would say, for me, the scariest thing, more so than sharks or anything like that.
When you're doing these competitions, I mean, you obviously have spotters. Are they freediving, or they have tanks on?
We actually depend pretty much entirely on freediving support now.
Wow.
We came to recognize that the old school approach of having scuba divers go as deep as the competitor was quite dangerous for the scuba diver, because this is scuba diving to over 300 feet, and that is not trivial. That's super dangerous too. So now we have what's called a counterballast system. Pretty simple idea. When you dive, you are tethered to the line by a little short leash or lanyard. And if you don't make it back up, or if you take too long, they just bring the entire rope back up, and you are connected to it. And so you're basically get pulled to the surface.
Is there a level of how much and how fast they can pull you up? Safe, because I know you hear like the bends and all that they can't just sit there and fly up.
We are at far less risk of decompression illness in freediving compared to scuba diving.
Wow.
So no, you don't need to worry about like how fast you come up in freediving generally. Yeah. So anyway, we've had an evolution of how we handle the deep safety, whereas now you don't find anybody hiring deep tech divers. It's too expensive. It's too dangerous. Everybody just has to wear a little lanyard. If something bad happens, you just get pulled up by the apparatus.
Wow. So my biggest concern, which I'm actually dealing with now, I was telling you I haven't dove in a while, and I was just doing 20 feet. I was after these moo spearfishing that are really smart. And
that's a good spot if you know where moo are in 20 feet of water.
Oh, they're huge, but they're like Einstein. They only let you get in just where the tip can maybe like a foot from them, and
we could say they're the smartest fish or whatever.
But in Indonesia, you can blast them like manini all day long. And so I was 20 feet, and that day after, my ear was singing like an opera singer just for the whole night. And then, like I was telling you, it's like rice, like shoving my hand in rice.
Okay.
And so my biggest fears are blowing a drum. And I was talking with Dusty Payne, a loved pro surfer here on the island, and then Sean Lopez he's a big wave surfer, kind of underground guy, and he was telling me about blowing a drum and you know, because I'm like concerned on
All right.
my ear. So anything you can give? Have you gone through blowing drums before?
All right, yeah, let's talk about equalization. That's another.
That's
arguably the most crucial thing in the way of everybody becoming a freediver. All right, so keeping up with equalizing the compressing middle ears when freediving, we all have to do it. Scuba divers have to do it too, actually. Here's the deal. We are not all born with an equal predisposition for it. That is the thing that not many people know, but that it's obvious to me now after having 1,000 students or whatever. 1 out of every 4 students that I have, they're doing the right thing, you know, but it still doesn't work very well, okay? So here's the thing. We have folks that are born with really good anatomy for, you know, equalizing.
Deeper dives.
Which must be me, you know. I never had any problem with it. You asked me if I ever blew an ear. No.
Wow.
I have done so much diving, and no, I've never hurt my ears. So I'm lucky. And then we have the other end of the spectrum, the folks that are probably doing the right technique, but it's still just not working. You know, for instance, their eustachian tube might be a little bit smaller, you know, or if the sinus isn't working, maybe there's been a chronic infection there or something anatomical going on there, right? And the problem is that just looking at each other externally, we can't know what's going on inside.
Yeah.
There is a doctor that can look inside. It's called the ear, nose, and throat doctor. So for anybody that has a really long, troubled, you know, time with freediving where they just have good days and bad days all the time, or they never equalize well, they ought to see that type of doctor to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
He sticks a little instrument up there and he says, oh, this is what's in the way. You know, this is what you need to fix or work on or whatever, right? And there's like minor operations and things that can improve the situation a lot. However, I'm not trying to say that, you know, either you can be a freediver or you can't. Everybody can be.
Okay.
It's just the folks that are born with a little less favorable anatomy got to work a little harder for it.
Have you had students that like I've done 60 feet. I'd like to go deeper, and I've never taken a course like, you know, what you offer, and I didn't have any problem.
Mm-hmm.
But this surface, and then even Brandon, when he said in Kiribati after day 3, he had to just stop because of his ears. And so, have you had students that struggled and then you got them past that struggle?
Absolutely.
Or was there some that you just, hey...
I've seen just crazy transformations. I recall a few students here in Maui that could not equalize in my class. They kind of stayed motivated and kept getting in the water all summer long, and then a couple months later they dive 100 feet. So yes, seen just complete transformations. All right, so here's the thing. Step 1, you need to learn the best technique to equalize with. Just because we all appear to pinch our nose doesn't mean we're all doing the same thing. You know, I don't want to waste too much time elaborating, but you know, the Frenzel equalization technique is the better one compared to Valsalva, which is the pinch and blow. So you need to make sure you can do Frenzel. I can teach that to anybody, or you could probably learn it online. And then you need to actually practice the Frenzel technique often. And I don't mean just when you go diving, you know, once a week or twice a week or once a month. You need to actually practice it every day.
Okay.
If you were working on your flexibility in, I don't know, your legs or something like that, would you stretch once a month, or do you think you might get better results if you stretched every day?
Totally.
So there you
I see
go.
your point, yeah.
If you are only equalizing when you dive, which for many people is very intermittently, not nearly frequently enough to make a difference, then yeah, you're going to continue to stay behind, you know?
Okay.
So
take note, guys.
yeah, what I'm saying is, like, you can practice equalizing without even getting in the water. You know, I just did it, you know, a couple times. So dedicate yourself to making a little time, I don't know, 5 minutes a day to like actively equalizing, so that it's like you're stretching or exercising the anatomy that's involved. And then changes will happen. Yeah, we definitely can adapt these anatomy, and You just need to put the time into it. It's not that much time, but just
No,
do it
I mean,
more
find it-
frequently.
That's great.
Yeah, just do it a little every
advice
day. And then, of course, if you have access to a pool,
It's conditioning.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then if you have access to even just a shallow pool, that allows you to simulate the real thing, meaning underwater, where the pressure is much greater than above water, and you can do it with your head upside down. That's another thing that lends to the challenges. Yeah, I can do it with my head up. Most anybody can on the airplane or whatever. But put your head upside down and underwater, then suddenly it's much harder. And so a shallow pool or tide pool or whatever, that can definitely help you without even doing
It's just training.
serious
Yeah.
diving. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, in your case, you said you might have been to 60 feet on a lucky day, and otherwise 20 feet is what's comfortable. Even you might have a little bit less favorable anatomy than me, but there's no reason you can't improve that and make it work more reliably and equalize deeper and all that. So yeah, we ought to check and make sure that you're doing Frenzel and not Valsalva. For
Yeah.
instance.
I mean, I may be doing it all completely wrong just from
Yeah,
what I've
exactly.
been doing.
You might not be doing it the best.
Or it could be doing it much better, and
Yeah.
so that I don't suffer with that.
Yeah.
So like we were talking before, I got turned on to, I guess, the term freediving and what it actually was from a buddy of mine, Jerry. His name's George Musil. He goes by Jerry, and he was a Miami. He competed, and he's, I want to say, in his 60s now, and the stories he's got, I mean, they were shooting, he's also a spearfisher, and they were shooting guys 500-pound groupers. They're called Goliath groupers. And there's a guy I mentioned to you, he was diving with, his name is Pippin Ferreras. And then he was diving with Jack Kearns and Art Pinder. And I know Art, I read up, he shot a 587-pound grouper. I have the spear gun that Jerry shot this thing with. I think it's like a 75 or a 90. And they don't use any tie lines. For those of you who don't spearfish, we usually have a line to our gun or a float system, and they don't use them. And I guess that's pretty big in Florida, where they'll shoot fish and just follow them and then bring them up, and they go for the stone shot. And so, but to have that gun, it's you ever heard of a Sea Hornet?
Yeah.
It's like it's like ancient,
old school.
the whole mechanism.
Pioneer.
Yeah. And so, he's what turned me on, and it's classic. Jerry lives in Tennessee now. He'll drive to Miami. He went recently during the season, and like in a few hours go get his lobster bag fill and then head back home. And so, who's your inspiration in freediving and guys that are helping you set goals with yourself? And I don't really know any of the the main people that are freediving that are setting records and well known and stuff. I'm sure there's men and women that are setting records and pushing limits and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I didn't grow up with any appreciation of freediving. So the ones that were pioneering it when I was a kid, yeah, I mean, I look up to them and all that, but they don't serve as any primary inspiration or anything. Honestly, I think I'm most inspired by the athletes at the top of the sport while I'm doing it. I'm a little different than other people. There's a lot of folks that enjoy watching and becoming fanatic about sports that they don't actually do, like professional basketball, professional baseball, professional football, and so on. I don't care about these sports that I don't actually do myself, right? So yeah, it's kind of nice. Like all I pay any attention to in the athletic world is freediving, and yeah, I'm avidly following like what's going on with the top ones in the sport. So I don't need to throw names out there, but anybody who is in the top of the sport, you can definitely that are still out there or innovating or pushing the boundaries or whatever.
Have you ever competed against people that you look up to and heroes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, whoa!
Just got to have that experience.
Awesome! Congratulations.
Check this out. I got into the Asian Freediving Cup in Philippines, and I knew it was going to be a really big competition. I knew there'd be some big dogs there. And I get there on the first day to join the training, and who do I get kind of assigned to dive with on the same training line? Dean Chouch and Alenka Artnik. Alenka is probably one of the 3 deepest women in the world right now, like one who
Wow.
could easily, she just did a world record actually.
Unreal.
So here I am like training with her, and then Dean, like probably about the third or fourth best in the world in no fins among the men. So I was just like, I'm not worthy, but I tried to play it cool and act like I knew what I was doing, with the training with them. But what's amazing to me when you meet these like legends in the sport of freediving is that most of the time they are super down to earth.
Yeah.
They are like not elitist. Oh, won't give you any of my time. Won't give you any tips. Won't help you at all. They're just wide open and ready to help you.
With that,
which is great in the sport of freediving that you don't get in other sports.
You got to
so
be
much.
in the water that much and to be breath holding. I think you're kind of free of a lot of emotions that I work with and help people that are holding them back and pinning them. I think you guys have, a lot more centered, I would say.
Competitive freediving most definitely attracts certain type of individual.
Yeah.
We are usually quite intellectual. It's like we really like to read scientific articles and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
We tend to be pretty mellow, like not prima donnas or anything like that.
Yeah.
Not always the case, but anyway, so it was awesome that wasn't the only day I got to train with them. I trained with the two of them every day that I was there. Like, how lucky are you to like have your own private sort of masterclass training session with some of the best divers in the world?
Wow.
Like, and we were just kind of watching each other, helping each other and all that. And then ultimately I actually did better than some of them in the end of the competition, like as far as the success and placing and all that. I know they're better divers than me, but ultimately I ended up, putting the
just
right
being in
dives
that
together
energy
or whatever.
can push you,
to
another level with yourself.
Yeah, it was fun to just start joking with each other once we were comfortable and things like that.
Cool.
So yeah.
Do you have? I'm sure you've got so many different people, and you've got spearfishers. Do you have big wave surfers that are coming and taking your class? Because I just figure if you're surfing, we've got a lot of friends here that surf in Jaws and around the world. That a class like you offer is key to survival, basically, when it comes to the waves that they're surfing.
Yeah, I did have a few Jaws surfers actually.
Cool.
I don't know if any of them are competing there or anything like that, but I'm sure that they're out there a lot. The thing about the big wave surfers is probably 5 years ago, some of the big wave surfers that learned about freediving started to capitalize on it. They started to create or help organize their own kind of courses for the surfers.
For big wave surfing.
Yeah, so there's like waterman survival courses, and there's something that what was his name? The guy you mentioned that's from Kona, the surfer from there.
Oh, Shane?
Shane, yeah, he's one of the guys that's like part of like a hui of sort of instructors.
Probably one of the most loved big wave riders.
Yeah, I've never actually met him, but I just have friends of friends and all that.
Super nice, yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if they're getting a large share of the surfing community in their instruction or what, but every now and again,
that course would be pretty, like how you're saying that's free divers. There's just a select group of you guys, and even with big waves. So I don't think they've got everyone in the world coming, but I think they've got some guys that and women that are ready to take their level and advance. But
let me offer you a real quick little opinion about that. These courses that are supposedly created by and tailored for the big wave surfers, okay, they're doing things like sometimes pushing people in the water or holding them underwater, wrestling underwater, whatever, to simulate big waves. Okay, that's great. That all makes sense. That's fine. But I would say that you still get plenty, if not just as much, out of your instruction and training just by learning the fundamentals without the extra simulation of big waves. So if you want to learn to get comfortable holding your breath under big waves, do you have to do it while being thrashed around? No, you can learn how to hold your breath in a nice calm pool without that extra stuff going on first.
Yeah.
And most anybody will learn to hold their breath to 3, 4, maybe even 5 minutes, just like that. And then that's all they need. you've got the confidence to be held under by a wave for 30 seconds if you can get your breath hold up to 4 minutes in a calm pool. Okay, so yeah, there's a little bit of marketing going on there.
What is your longest downtime?
My longest breath hold, like in a pool without swimming, is 7 minutes 18 seconds.
Is that static, or is that
that's
sitting on the bottom?
that's static. Yeah.
So static's just sitting on the surface and holding your
exactly. No swimming.
breath. Okay.
And then dive time, maybe about 3.5 minutes for like a true working dive.
I could do half that.
Yeah. Actually, that's a point to be made. Whatever your static is, the best static you've done, roughly half of that is a good estimate of working dive time.
Okay.
Seems quite true for me. If 7 minutes is about as good as I can do in a stationary breath hold, 3.5 is what I've demonstrated I can do in a working dive. So
yeah,
it's pretty accurate.
Therapeutically, I'll get your opinion on it. Like, I know for spearfishing, like we were just talking about getting held down, and I don't surf as big of waves as a lot of my friends and the big wave surfers, but I've surfed big waves, and I credit spearfishing for a number of things, and I kind of have to push aside spearfishing and throw it in as freediving. That it's been there for me when I'm getting rattled by big sets coming in, and there's times where you feel like your limbs are getting ripped off, and the first thing I do, it's like a mantra, and all I say is spearfishing. And so when I say that, I go into mode to where I calm down, I relax, I let it just take me and thrash me, and then I finally come up. And I credit spearfishing / freediving for probably saving my life a couple of times. And then I'm a bow hunter, and I credit freediving for more of its meditative state that it brings you to making me a better bow hunter. But more importantly is with my work, for those of you who don't know, medicine man, as you can see here behind us, but I'm also psychic and empathic. So I've made a lot of my living doing psychic readings. And psychic means that I can see for people, all right? Empathic means I feel. So it's like I go in people's bodies, come out, and I wear their quote-unquote shit, so to speak, and it allows me to understand what's going on with them so that I can put this together and other type therapies that they need. And when you wear people's stuff, it's not fun. And so with what you're offering, I highly recommend, if you're a therapist, a medical doctor, if you're on the phone all the time, because a lot of us are empathic, not knowing, and we're taking people's energy on, and being able to just go underwater and breath hold, to me, helps push that negativity off you. And one, the water, your water element with your physical body connects, and it helps dissipate that, as well as the breath hold helps to push out negative energy. And to me, it's very healing. A lot of surfers you hang out with and divers, when we come out of the water, we're all giddy and happy. I think more than our experience of being in the water, I think it helped pull negativity off of us and put us in a better place with ourselves. So therapeutically, like, where would you say, for you, plus just being underwater and seeing all the amazing stuff that we're blessed with, it's pretty rad.
Yeah, I've been freediving long enough now that I don't even really have to realize the therapeutic benefit of it anymore. I don't have to remind myself of it, like, I'm feeling kind of stressed, I better go make myself freedive now or something like that. I'm sure that I'm just getting this constant level of sort of appreciation out of it. Like, maybe that's part of how I am who I am today, like somebody who stays pretty calm under stress, or can handle, high levels of pressure or something like that. Maybe that is a result of the freediving and the spearfishing and all that.
Yeah, because you're pretty centered and grounded. I mean, we just met today, and you're like, chill.
I think just to put this more broadly, like, whether you're interested in spearfishing or not, or terribly into the ocean or not, there is a lot of benefit in the way of health benefits and psychological benefits and stress management benefits and so on, when you train yourself to handle one of the greatest challenges that anyone can face, and that is breath holding. Whether underwater or out of the water, anybody can try to hold their breath, and it is so hard. Yeah. And so to become successful at that, and that could mean even just holding your breath for 3 minutes in a class, takes a lot of fortitude, a lot of different life history elements and just elements of like stress management and all that kind of stuff have to come together to be able to do it, I think. And so, yeah, like just starting to train yourself for it, or just going and doing a class and realizing that you're amazing at it.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of shows you like, wow, like I'm, you know, really good in certain aspects of how I manage, you know, stress and all that. So, yeah, I just think that anybody could get a lot of reward out of freediving. Yeah, and we're enthusiastic to just keep watching you grow
and speaking
and share
of which,
it.
you know, I've seen you do photography, so it allows a lot of other doors to open with other than just competitive freediving.
Yeah.
Like you can be an underwater photographer. I got to shoot video for Tavi Castro. He's like a big DJ in Europe. And they were here and they asked me, and you know, I was doing like 40-foot dives, coming up with this amazing camera for their video they were making. And then, you know, it's just lots that freediving offers. And so if people are wanting to progress their abilities for whether it's spearfishing, just self-reward, or safety of the ocean, how can we get in touch with you and you know, train?
Any which way. Obviously, we take advantage of social media these days, so Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
So your Instagram is?
Chambers Below, and then on Facebook, somebody could search my name and find like this sort of athlete page.
Okay.
It has a schedule of classes and all that. So,
do you have a website as well?
Sort of, but I've mostly depended on Facebook. So
Okay.
you can search my name in Google. You can search my name in Facebook. That probably
Because I know, I mean, someone here, a friend of mine, Carter. I mean, there's Emily, Brandon. I mean, everyone speaks so highly of the course that they offer, and that you took them to levels. There's Nick. You remember Nick Lauder?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a really cool blow up. You might have even taken the photo of him sitting on the Carthaginian.
Yeah, I probably did. Yeah.
And you know, I just love what you have to offer for a huge number of reasons. And so,
yeah, well, hopefully we got at least a few more people like to finally say, you know, I've been thinking about doing that for a long time. Now I'm going to finally go and do it. I'm going to go finally sign up for a class or whatever.
are you mostly teaching here in different islands, or are you going global?
I teach on every island. Yeah, I don't go too far across the Pacific Ocean to teach. I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'm interested if
you had enough
you know,
people
Fiji or Palau or someplace like that could use it, and I know they could. But yeah, my routine is to kind of hit each island once a month.
Okay.
It's not too bad. And yeah, so I expect to keep teaching pretty much every weekend for the next few. However, the Saudi Arabia thing just came up. So I'll go ahead and teach my class in Kauai next weekend, and then after that, I'm in for a long-ass flight.
Are you taking time to train? Like,
yeah, I'm gonna try to get there.
To get
like
your mindset and everything.
Oh yeah. I mean, the competition's like July 11th to 13th. That's quite soon.
Yeah, that's around the corner. Actually.
Yeah, all I can hope for is to be there like maybe a week.
That's not even a month away.
I know,
so.
But fortunately, I'm extremely well trained from just coming back from the Philippines. It's not like I'm starting all over. I just got to keep carrying.
When I was talking
carrying
to
some
Brandon,
fitness through these couple weeks.
Talking the dives, and he was like, what me and him do, like Brandon dives deep, he's a good diver.
Yeah.
He's like 20 feet for us. Like you were just doing 100 drop spotting everybody in the class all day. Like it was nothing. I was like, wow, that's rad.
You know, when I first started spearfishing and freediving, I actually did ask, in complete uncertainty, I wonder if I'll ever be able to dive 100 feet someday.
Wow, that's
so
great to know, guys. You hear that?
I was most definitely somebody who had no confidence
it is
or
something I'd like to
natural talent or whatever in it, and you know, just kind of had the pieces fall together and the right partners come into place and things like that, and yeah, left that goal way behind. You know, so
no, that's inspiration for everybody.
Yeah, anybody can come from, you know, go from zero to hero. We sometimes say.
Yeah.
It's never too late to start either. Did you know that in Kona, where I live, our oldest diver, and he still dives over 200 feet.
Wow.
He's 79 years old, I think. His name's Bill Graham. And he would have been friends, possibly, with those guys you mentioned, like Art Pinder and so on, because he started spearfishing in California in the 50s.
Wow.
So now he's just, you know,
Sure, they know because guys at that
yeah,
level,
yeah.
there's
He,
talk.
he,
You
he
know
was
what I
he
mean?
was tight with all the earliest, like, you know, small handful of guys that were doing that. So anyway, it's amazing to watch Bill get in and out of our dive site with a cane. He leaves his cane hooked up to the float while we're in the water. His hip's bad, so he uses a scooter to get in and out a little bit now. But he can still hold his breath for 8 minutes.
He's
he
still
can still
diving when he's walking like cane and stuff?
Yes, yes.
Nuts.
Yes.
Wow, that's
So
that's
it's
gold.
not just him, but there's plenty of other like kind of older middle-aged folks in Kona that just dive every weekend, have a good old time, and they're pretty respectable divers.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at
feeding
what depth
themselves
they're
and their
doing.
family too, you know?
Yeah.
Can't go wrong there.
So yeah, you're never too old and never too
That's
young to start
inspiration.
either.
I was snowboarding, I want to say Japan, and a guy was keeping up with me. He was 82 with snowboarding. So, you know, props to everyone who's still going and pushing their limits and doing what they love.
Yeah.
You know, gotta love it and give them a big round of applause.
To be honest, I feel kind of old. All right, like, yeah, people wouldn't guess that, but now I've been freediving since 2003, dedicating myself to like kind of training and competing for since 2008. So I'm not like one of the new school of freedivers.
Yeah.
Now, competitively, internationally, a lot of people haven't heard of me because I really didn't start, you know, doing big enough dives until the last few years. But I've actually been doing it for a pretty good while now, and yeah, I'm starting to get wary. You know, it's like, oh, got to go train again, you know, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
But it's in your heart, you know. It's
yeah,
in your
yeah. There's
passion.
plenty of folks that only started freediving well older than me.
With
you know,
diving, I didn't bring up, and I meant to ask, like, you look at our physique, we're pretty streamlined. Do you have bigger people that are
yeah,
hitting 100, 200 feet?
I would definitely like to share that.
Because when I
Yeah.
was doing work filming for these people, I mean, these guys, like, massive bodybuilder, he didn't last, like, a minute, like, paddling a surfboard. Like, it's toast. He was done.
Okay.
You know? And then I was going all day just doing laps, helping them and stuff
All
like
right.
that.
So this depends on what type of big we're talking about here. Now, when you first said that, I thought you were talking about like maybe like overweight folks that aren't super
more
healthy, but muscular guys.
Muscular frame.
Well, let me tell you two different possibilities. I actually have seen some of the more like bodybuilding looking guys not do so well. And there's just this kind of like, not completely proven, but kind of intuitive notion that the more muscle mass you have, probably the less efficient you are with your oxygen or something. And then conversely, many of the top freedivers in the world, especially the ones best at static apnea, they're rail thin. Like there's no muscle there. So there probably is something to that. But what I wanted to say is that you don't have to be a super fit athlete to freedive, because now I have had students of every kind, man. I've had really overweight people. I've had chain smokers.
Wow.
You know? I've had kids as young as 9 years old, you know, and I've seen every type of person out there
Up to 82.
succeed in freediving. And in particular, the folks that were like overweight, you know, 250, 300 pounds, they did really well. Like I was even surprised. I'm like, wow, it's like as if this is not a handicap at all.
Wow.
Because when we're underwater, we take away the effect of gravity, pulling us down to the ground. You know, our buoyancy changes that. And so you really kind of level the playing field a great deal when you freedive, because now all that extra weight you might be carrying isn't hurting you so
the
much.
water removes kind of quote-unquote restrictions that
Yeah,
you think
yeah.
you have or that you think they may have.
So you would not imagine how graceful some of the students have been that I've seen that were like 250 plus. Underwater, they are like just smooth as sea lions, you know,
Wow.
or whatever, you know, and it's, yeah. So anyway, just pointing out that you don't have to feel like you got to be a super athlete or super skinny and fit and all that stuff to freedive. That's not been my observation at all. And then even with the smoking thing, I've seen plenty of chain smokers hold their breath for over 5 minutes.
Man.
It's nuts.
Mind over matter?
No, just everything you're thinking intuitively that cardiovascular health is important for freediving, that kind of goes out the window. It's weird, but dive fitness is kind of seemingly a little separate from cardiovascular fitness.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
The fitness you need to run and do that kind of exercise is very different from what you need for freediving. You might have heard of something called the dive reflex. So that's what I mean by dive fitness. So somebody can have poor cardiovascular fitness, but still be an amazing diver.
Wow.
I mean, I have seen just crazy stuff, like people just smoking like heavily immediately before and after diving, and still diving over 100 feet, still doing several minute long breath holds and all that. So just showing you that you can smoke whatever and probably still free dive very well.
Wow.
It's surprising, but that's definitely the case.
Wow. Yeah, I think a lot of us.
So free diving is seems to allow everybody.
Yeah, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, Kurt, it's been a pleasure having you, and an honor, and your knowledge and your experience with what you do. Thank you for being on the show. And guys, if you want, and I hope that you do, take up your surfing ability, your diving. Let's check out Kurt here on Chambers Below. It's a way to get in touch with you. That's how I got in touch with you on Instagram.
Yeah, that's fine. Facebook's fine. Yeah.
And wish you luck in the Red Sea. That sounds like something really awesome. And,
yeah, that's going to be a trippy experience. Like,
yeah.
It's such a different culture. You know, I'm pretty comfortable now in like Latin America and stuff like that, but this is going to be like never been in
that part of the side of the
world.
No.
No.
Wow.
So, yeah, but hey, YOLO or whatever, you know, might as well. So
no, do it.
Yeah.
See as much as you can. We got blessed. Earth to me is like rad. And so all the magic lakes and rivers and mountains and stuff, I can never get enough of it. So I'm stoked for you to go, and good luck with the competition. And guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm Spice, your host, Talk Story with Spice. If you want to see more of my world, my social media, everything is Island Spice Hawaii. Instagram, Facebook, obviously the YouTube you're watching here, and my website. And there is a little donation link below, but I always say donate to yourself, because there's awesome herbal products that have proven themselves for more than 20 years. There's also my logo wear line. So big love and aloha from the islands. I'm Spice, and thanks again for coming over and sharing your knowledge and experience with freediving. It's been rad.
Thank you, Spice. Hope to see you guys this summer.
Yeah, sign up. So, okay, guys, take care. Aloha.
Party bros are here to find out. But guys, first, before we get started, what happened to your hair?
What up, Jesse? Good to see you. Yeah, it's come to our attention that the coral in the ocean is bleaching itself because it's so stressed because the ocean's so hot. And it's actually not cool when it bleaches itself. It makes it super susceptible to mortality. So in other words, it's dying. So JT and I bleached our hair to stand in solidarity with the coral.
Yeah, because, like, for a lot of people, they don't know because it's, like, out of sight, out of dome. But we're bringing awareness because now it's on our domes.
And we just want to say, what up, coral? We stand with you, dog. We're bleached with you.
Chad, you got some nice little flow going, but JT, you look like a chia pet.
Thank you.
Aw, Jesse.
Oh,
dude, that was a savage burn, dude. And on TV, dog. Yeah, some of the dudes in the squad have been kind of hating on the look, and
I love it.
They're probably right. I do appreciate.
I love it.
Chad's been more optimistic about how we look, but yeah, for sure, it was an adjustment period, but it's for a good cause, and we want it to be like the iceberg challenge or ice bucket challenge. So like, people out there, like, if you want to help coral, like, bleach your hair like Chad and I, and like, what up?
And you gotta challenge people. So
all right.
I challenge Warren Buffet.
Yeah, he challenges Warren Buffett, and I challenge Jeff Bezos because we want our dads to do it too. So we gotta nominate dudes that they think are legit.
I'd like to give thanks and a huge shout out to Aribe Tea Company. Aribe Tea is an amazing all-natural tea company that uses organic and locally sourced ingredients from right here in the Hawaiian Islands. Both brewed and bottled in Hilo, Hawaii of the Big Island with lots of flavors to choose from, Aribe Tea can be found at Island Naturals, Down to Earth, Safeway, KTA, and Times Supermarket, as well as all 7-Eleven stores. Enjoy an Aribe Tea today. And a special thanks to Our for their pure-grade, high-quality, handmade incense. Hands down, Our makes the absolute best incense available. Pure, clean, and balanced with infinite, heavenly, divine, exotic, and pleasantly beautiful scents and aromas to choose from. Be sure to check out their amazing all-natural hygiene products as well. Incense by Hourmere is available at a health store near you or available online at hourmere.com. As for my surf sponsors, mahalo to Dakine for their awesome surf products, a trusted, loved, and recognized brand that originated right here in the Hawaiian Islands on the island of Maui in 1979. Dakine products are available at your local surf shop or their website, dakine.com. A definite thank you goes to Rawson Surfboards. Shaper Pat Rawson has been shaping surfboards since 1966, which includes shaping boards on surfing's most respected proving grounds, the North Shore of Oahu, since 1972. One of the most well-recognized Rawson surfboard moments is that iconic Tommy Carroll snap at the North Shore's infamous Bonsai Pipeline. Check out Rawson Surfboards at a surf shop near you or go to patrawsonsurfboards.com. And for my bow hunting sponsors, I'd like to thank ASAT Camouflage. ASAT stands for All Season, All Terrain. Be the tree or become the bush with ASAT's patented camo pattern that blends you into nature and masks you from the eyes of the game you're seeking to put on your dinner plate. Hands down, ASAT is the best functioning high-quality camouflage in the business. Get out in the field with your ASAT camo and see for yourself. Check them out at asatcamo.com. A big thank you to Cashtook Bowcraft for your handmade arrows. Cashtook Bowcraft makes not only handmade wooden arrows and bone broadheads, but also makes handcrafted self-and longbows, bone knives, fire starters, muzzle loaders, and more. If you're a traditional bow hunter, wooden arrows is the only way to fly. Be sure to check out cashtookbowcraft.com. And now I'd like to reach out and thank my snowboarding sponsors, starting with D-Curve. Guys, D-Curve is a cutting-edge eyewear and lifestyle company pushing you to explore your boundaries and defy your limits. D-Curve uses the same patented technology that NASA uses in space to protect eyes from radiation that blocks out 100% UV rays and harmful blue light. D-Curve helmets, goggles, sunglasses, and more can be found at dcurve.com. Check them out. You'll be super stoked you did.